In this section of Elements of Writing, we will focus on the active versus the passive voice in English and why it is so important to use the active voice in formal business communication. Remember, English verbs have two voices, active voice and passive voice. Let's explore these further. Let's look at the following example. In this sentence, the manager wrote the report yesterday. It is clear that this is written in the active voice. In active voice, the person acting is clear. The person acting in this sentence is the manager. In the next sentence, the report was written yesterday. It is clear that it is written in the passive voice. The writer doesn't specify who is acting. Here is another example. In the active voice, you must not leave the door open. But when we write it in the passive voice, the door must not be left open. Sometimes a sentence in passive voice does not necessarily sound wrong or wordy, however, it is still best to write in active voice when possible. Only use the passive voice when the action is the focus, not the subject. It is not important or not known who does the action. Avoid using the passive voice when you want more clarity in writing. In some cases, though, you need to use the active voice to stress the action, not the actor. The passive voice can be considered more polite as it sounds less aggressive or dramatic. The active voice is clearer, livelier, and more concise. Choose the active voice whenever possible. Active voice is all about action. It gives your product or service immediacy and usually does so with fewer words. In order to recognize that a sentence is in passive voice, watch out for these keywords: be, is, are, a, was, were, has been, have been, will be, and being. In order to change passive voice to active voice, you need to recognize what the subject of the sentence is and then rewrite the sentence so the subject is performing the actions. Let's use the following sentence example to understand how to change passive voice to active voice. Extensive training on the new safety procedures was required to be attended by the maintenance staff. We can immediately recognize that this sentence is in passive voice because the key word was used, and because it isn't initially clear who or what this sentence is about. The next step is to rewrite the sentence so the subject is performing the action. This previous session can be written in the active voice as follows. The maintenance staff had to attend extensive training on the new safety procedures. This rewrite makes it immediately clear to the reader who is doing what. The subject is doing the action. In other words, the maintenance staff. Using the passive voice in formal business communication isn't incorrect, but our writing becomes much more effective and powerful when we make use of the active voice. In our professional and personal lives, how we convey a message is just as important as the message itself. Readers prefer active voice sentences, and we should try to use the active voice in most of our business writing to communicate our messages most effectively. Active voice clearly identifies the action and who is performing that action. Over time, writing in the passive voice simply becomes a habit, one we should all work to change.